I gotta say,
That don't impress me much.
Heart overall was a disappointment. Not because I expected the album to be bad or anything, but because I expected the album to be great, and it really isn't. All the promotional singles were some of the best released, but the album failed to measure up to those moments, and a lot of that feeling comes from the marketing. Overshore has a fantastic video on this topic that I implore you check out. Stick That in Your Country song is still my favorite of the album, and it has such a powerful build up, and when you get to that climax, this song holds absolutely nothing back. It's about time someone called out modern country music for its lack of substance and subject material. My second fave would be Crazyland. It has such a unique story structure, and it kinda reminds me of Inside Out in a sense, with all the emotions and personalities described in it. It's a really inventive concept. Heart on Fire was great. It's a nice throwback to the classic days of Southern rock. I think people are gonna love that song the most with how soulful it is. Never Break Heart is good. That's it, really. After getting a great acoustic version of this song, I expected the studio version to follow suit, and I was wrong for thinking that. Similar to Morgan Wallen's Wondering About the Wind, this is a song that craves to have zero percussion, as it takes me out of the entire experience and gives me complete and utter whiplash. New song wise, Heart of the Night is easily the best of the 5. It has your great wordplay, your great chorus, it definitely sticks out as a cut above the rest, but it's still just a pretty good song, nothing phenomenal. I like the line of, "My true north is anywhere, I can leave it all behind." Makes you wonder if he's pulling a starting over on us, and this might be the finale of Eric Church, at least for a little while. Russian Roulette is an interesting concept for a song, but where it succeeds in the writing with a great twist for a breakup song, it stumbles in the stagnant vocals and frankly overwhelming instruments. On my first listen when it all came together, I literally took my headphones off as it was too much. I'm not joking. People Break is a pretty basic breakup song. It follows all the tropes of pain and regret. There's no clever twist to it, which I've come to expect from the Chief. I do like the vocals on this one. It takes me back to the days of Sinners Like Me in Carolina, where he was far less restrained with his vocal style. Bunch of Nothing is very unique, to put it carefully. It has a very Louisiana-esque style, which is nice and shows he still shakes up his musical styles. But like the title alludes, that apart from all the physical aspects of the song, with the great instrumentation and soulful vocals, this song is a bunch of nothing. The closing track, Love Shines Down, unfortunately doesn't do much as it's such a weak closer. It's very repetitive and too heavy with its production. It gives off a gospel vibe, which is nice to see from the Chief, but in the end, it's a song I'd probably never revisit, nor the album as a whole. And if you think this is me just hating on the record, I'm not. I made an entire video on why I think Desperate Man, his last album, is a masterpiece. These words don't come from someone who doesn't know the Chief. They come from someone who knows his work extremely well and want him to make the best music possible. He has made powerful songs like Monsters, Hippie Radio, Springsteen, and Lightning. Even the weakest album, The Outsiders, had masterful songs like A Man Who Was Gonna Die Young and Dark Side. This album doesn't have that mature, outstanding moment. The closest would be Stick That in Your Country song, and that has a whole lot holding it back from being on that level. The last album to do that was Carolina, but even then, all the songs were relatively on the same level as one another. Here, there is such a disparity within the range of quality with all the songs. While no song here is bad by any means, about half of them are just barely passing the mile marker of being declared good in my eyes. And the other half, while great, are easily cast in a shadow compared to the best of Eric Church. It lacks tonal clarity and consistency. A majority of the songs diverge into heartland rock, metal, and soul, and normally I'd applaud that, but there's no central core to the sound, and overall this album really lacks any depth. There is no core message of this album, no compelling theme of conflict. It was all spectacle and no emotional effort. Notice how I went this entire review without mentioning or comparing a single song to Mr. Misunderstood. If I wanted to compare that to this, it would not be pretty. Eric Church might believe that this is his best work, and by all means, he's welcome to think that, but for me, while not quite as weak as The Outsiders, it isn't near the level of any other album he's ever released. I'm giving Eric Church's Heart a 7.4 out of 10, a relatively good yet safe album beyond anything else. The bold, risky Daredevil just isn't really here. I don't have access to Ann, so I can't review it when it's released. I'll follow up this with a review of Soul. Hopefully, it can provide the emotional clarity I seek. But until then, Eric Church, I know you can do better.